This is The Narrative. Joining me now on the program is Kimron Korean. He is a digital communications consultant. He's joining me to talk about whether or not we are future ready in Grenada as far as technology is concerned. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation to be back on the program.
It's been a while. I had you way, way back at the beginning of your foray into media, into public media. So
Right.
it's good to have you back. And we're looking at the future and whether I know you talk a lot, you do a lot of lectures and so on AI and technology and just being ready to claim the future and to grab the future and to position yourself to take advantage of all the opportunities that are available with this technological revolution that we are living in right now. Where are we as a nation with that, in your
I think,
opinion?
yeah. Well, in my opinion, I think that Grenada is poised to take advantage of the technological shift that we are experiencing now with AI. For one, we do have high internet penetration across the country. We do have, for example, mobile penetration. We do see, if you remember, sometime last year when the Speaker of the House of Parliament mentioned that the government is going to be investing in artificial intelligence and all politicians and MPs and so would be using AI. There's also the situation where the GIS has signed an agreement with UETV that includes AI exploration and investment in innovative technologies and solutions. So I think that we are poised. The biggest gap that I see is the skills gap, and that is what we need to start working more on that. We need to start investing in AI education. But in terms of our readiness, I think that we are ready. We do have locals that are investing in AI, whether on a large scale or a small scale. We do have locals that are doing work in the AI space. So in terms of readiness, I think we are.
But we have this skills gap, and it comes down to having the people able to position themselves within the space. Uh, what would you like to see us do, or what should we be doing to attempt to close this skills gap that exists? And of course, our skills gap is not limited to just technology and AI, and so it seems to be across all industries. But in this instance,
Yeah. So in this case, we need to invest in a lot of training, a lot of training in artificial intelligence, generative AI. We have TAMCC, so there could be some more courses that focuses on artificial intelligence, on whether artificial intelligence for in business, whether it's artificial intelligence in maybe the public sector. However, we want to look at it, generative AI, whether we want to look at whichever area that we want to focus on, predictive AI. We need to look at how do we use the institutions that we have, so like your TAMCC, your SGU, even in the secondary schools. It's not too early, and equipped, first of all, our educators to be able to deliver the education, the lessons that's needed where artificial intelligence is concerned. So it might mean, before we even get to the students and the general public, that we need to have like a trainer kind of approach to ensure that we have the people that can deliver the training and help close that skills gap that exists. So we need to make use of the institutions that we have currently, and like you correctly stated, it's not just artificial intelligence. I think that overall there is a digital skills gap across the board, and that digital skills gap needs to be closed. And not just with let's say our young people, and ensuring that our young people are trained and are developed in the areas of AI, but the workforce, the current workforce, we need to ensure that they are upskilled and reskilled to take advantage of the technological shift that artificial intelligence is bringing.
Who leads this charge, though? Do we look to the government? Do we look to policy? Do we look to private sector? Do we look to the citizens to be aware of what's happening around them and to seek out? Some of this is very expensive to acquire. Sometimes training is. Where do we begin to do this?
I think it can be twofold. So first, I think from a policy standpoint, that there has to be a policy position on where we go where AI is concerned. So from a government policy position, there has to be a position where that's taken where it states that going forward at the TAM-CC level, at whichever level, that artificial intelligence is a subject that is going to be taught. I'm not saying that it has to be maybe like CXC or whatever the case is. Maybe we're not there yet. Maybe we should be, but that's a whole different story. But I think from a policy standpoint, from a government standpoint, we can definitely start there, and we have seen government making certain moves in that space. Now, apart from a government policy standpoint, I think the private sector businesses also need to invest in developing their existing staff. I think it's their responsibility to ensure that their staff is upskilled and reskilled to be able to make use of the AI tools, the AI solutions that are available that will help bring more efficiencies and productivities within those businesses. So, how do we ensure that our workforce, our workers are not taking 2 and 3 days to do a task that they can do in 30 minutes if they use AI? So we want to ensure that they're trained. So the business leaders have a responsibility to also invest in developing their staff. And then we also have the the responsibility also rests on us. I know you mentioned, sometimes it's costly to get the training also to do this, but there's a lot of reading that we can do a lot of reading online. We can watch YouTube videos. We can use the same AI themselves and tell, yeah, you can go into chat gpt and say, hey, chat gpt, I want you to develop a lesson for me to teach me all about generative AI, or to teach me how I can use generative AI in based on my job role. Or if you're a student in school, instead of just using AI to do your assignments and write your essays and this type of stuff, which I do not condone, period. You can use the AI to let it tell you how can you develop yourself. I mean, the AI can literally develop a lesson plan for you that you can follow to learn generative AI for free. So while yes, there are some costs involved, there are some low or no cost ways that we can develop ourselves individually.
But we also have to develop that awareness among our population that AI is beyond making a baby dance or having Obama say he's coming to a bingo at the stadium or something ridiculous like that. And it's much, much more than that. I know that UE has a big program where they're trying to develop and to step into that frontier. Do you feel like we're still looking at the kindergarten capabilities of AI as just regular folks, regular citizens?
That's an interesting way to put it, and I think I want to concur in that we have not really delved deep into the full capabilities of AI outside of just using it for like fun stuff. Like you say, making Obama say something, or making some funny memes and so on, posting online to like throw shade at each other. I know. I mean, I'm guilty of during the intercall season, posting a lot of like memes to throw shades at us, our competitors, and it's all fun and games, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But there is a more serious side to AI where it can really bring benefits to organizations well, I mean, to the country on a whole. I mean, the economic development that AI can bring is next level. So yeah, I think that we're not using it like really to in the way that it needs to be used as yet to bring the kind of benefit that we can enjoy as a country. We're not there yet. And I think that we are in a position to get there. Just yesterday, I was looking at a posting that the OECS Commission did on LinkedIn, and they just launched a new AI chatbot that you can go in and you can type in, ask it any questions like when is OECS Day, and it will give you the response. They created a chatbot, they put it out there, and that chatbot was developed by a Grenadian, my cousin Joshua Andel, who is
Interesting.
coincidentally the youth prime minister. Right, he developed that for the OECS Commission. This is a young man creating AI chatbot that's being used by a regional entity, regional organization. So the potential is there. I mean, he can do it. If he can do it, others can do it. We just have to go and learn. And it's really not that difficult. I mean, when we think about AI, we think about having to like having to go and develop. We need to be an AI engineer to go and like code large language models and so on. While that is great, and I do encourage anybody interested in that space to do it. I'm not an engineer. I don't write code. I do vibe coding using some of the AI apps. But we have the potential, we have the abilities, we have all the tools available to us that we can, going back to your original question, that we can start using AI more than just making funny memes and making funny videos to get a world leader to promote an event that we're having.
And you talked about training the trainers and and the gap. And I'm seeing that in the schools, I feel like from the primary school level, we should already be on this, but we don't have the capacity to teach these technologies from the primary school, whether it's at grade 5 and grade 6, and then certainly in the secondary. And I keep giving my son as an example a lot when I talk about technology and sometimes just the whole education system on the narrative, where he was interested in coding, but at primary school level, there was no access to that. There's a coding academy somewhere here. Nothing, when he got to secondary school, still nothing. He taught himself. So now he's
Right.
coding. And it's costing me a lot to get him a computer that can do that. He needs all kinds of space and all kinds of things. I don't even understand it. But how do we, as parents, guide our children and get our children involved in this next level technology outside of an education system that does not even begin to support that kind of learning?
Yeah, I think what we can do is kids are very smart. They're very smart. I mean, I have two daughters, and the type of things that they're doing on the devices. I am a tech guy. Not hard tech as coding like your son per se, but I understand technology, and the things that I see them doing sometimes, I'm like, wow, like I was not doing these things at their age. So they're very smart. So I think what we need to do is, even when we don't understand the technology and so, is we need to give them the freedom and the space to explore it. They're on devices all the time anyways. They're on the internet, they're checking stuff, they're watching YouTube videos, they're watching all these different shows. So maybe it's up to us then to try to guide maybe what kind of programs they're engaging. And instead of them watching Baby Shark do on YouTube, maybe they can watch a program that speaks about the importance of coding, or how to get started in coding. And so and in that way we start developing that kind of awareness within them as to what the technology of today is. And the next thing is to there's a lot of people that are, I, I want to say, maybe scared of AI. And because of that fear that they have, because I mean, I don't want to sit here and make it sound as though it's all good things, and everything is great where AI is concerned. There are some downsides, and so when speaking about AI, right? So it's not just all sunshine and rainbows. However, we need to ensure that as parents that we're not letting our fear of the technology hinder us from supporting our kids when they are exploring what's possible. So you might feel like, oh, I don't trust this AI thing, and I've heard people say to me that they don't trust AI, they don't believe in this AI thing, and whatever the case is. And as a result, they might stop their kids from exploring it, from looking it up more. We have to give them that space so that they could explore it. We have to ensure that we're guiding them. We're looking to see, okay, well, we know that this is the technology that is reshaping literally every single industry, that is disrupting jobs. Even if we don't like it, then we need to ensure that we equip and give our kids the ability to at least learn about this thing, and to not get left behind when the disruption comes. I mean, it's already here, but there will be more disruption coming from an AI standpoint. So I would say just give kids the freedom. Don't hold them back. Don't project your fears onto them. Ensure that when they're online and they're checking stuff, that they're looking at things that can educate them in the AI space.
And I'm sure there are videos that would teach you stuff about AI that's a lot more productive than Baby Shark. Do 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 do
Absolutely,
do.
absolutely,
you know,
absolutely.
um, and with my kids, I give them the freedom to just as I pay attention to ensuring that what they go to school with in their bags is what they need to go to school with, then you do the same online, that what they're accessing,
Exactly.
what they're doing is what they're supposed to. It's just, you're just parenting in another space. But what they can learn and who they can become, if used properly, is limitless. And that awareness, I feel like I'm not really sure, I'm not feeling the embrace of technology with our younger generation. I know people on their smartphones and they're on Facebook and they're on TikTok and they're doing stuff, but the real productive use of this technology, sometimes I wonder whether or not we're moving in that direction,
Yeah, I think,
or maybe
and
I
that's
am
that's
looking in the wrong place.
no, I think you're right. You're absolutely right. I have always stated that I feel like we are consumers of technology. We are not producers of technology. We don't pay too much attention to it. We use it when it's out there, but in terms of like really going deep into how can we use this, um, I think there needs to be a lot more awareness, like you say, about it. We need to have more voices speaking out about this thing. Um, like I said, maybe there's policy positions that can come into play. But I do agree that we need more awareness of artificial intelligence, and not just AI, because there are other technological shifts that's happening, that people can focus on. I don't even think that we've truly taken full advantage of coding as yet. But and right now you can literally write code, whether it's Python, whatever it is. You can write code now using AI, using your Chat GPT, your Claude, your Gemini. You can literally write code now using artificial intelligence, using AI. But I don't even think that before that happened, when we were coding and so was like you had to actually sit down and write the code, that we even truly took full advantage of it. I'm not even for example, social media. Everybody's on social media right now. However, there are still some gaps in terms of how we can truly take full advantage of social media. And I mean, in some of the developed countries, they've gone way past that. They've gone way past that now. So we always behind where technology is concerned. I don't know if maybe I should say always, but generally, we're behind where technology is concerned, and I think there needs to be a lot more awareness in young people, like you say, starting at the secondary school level, well, maybe even primary school, just
I
letting
said
them know
I said
what's,
primary school.
yeah, let them know what's possible, what's available, what's there. You don't have to go deep into it, because it's just to bring that awareness, so that when they're coming up, that they can start looking at, okay, well, yeah, we can aspire to be more than what we're actually seeing in the community. When I was in primary school, when you asked me what I wanted to be, and weirdly enough, I still have an inclination. I always said I wanted to be a cop, I wanted to be a police, I wanted to be a police, and weirdly enough, somewhere deep inside me, there is that desire still for to get into law enforcement, for whatever reason. But that's what I always wanted to be. The field that I got into did not even exist when I was asked those questions back then. I did my master's in digital media, and my cohort was the fourth cohort. That was in 2017, which means that 4 years prior is when the Master of Digital Media program started at Toronto Metropolitan University. So when I was in primary school and I was asked what I wanted to be when I grew up, the field that I got into, the program that I studied, that I did not even exist. As a matter of fact, Facebook was launched the same year in 2004. The same year Ivan, I think that's when Ivan came. Facebook and Ivan came around the same time, right? So these things are new, and it's gonna keep evolving, keep evolving. So we kind of always have to look at what are the technological shifts that are happening, and ensure that at all level of society, in school, out of school, in the workplace, private and public sector, that we are raising awareness of the technology that's out there, and upskilling, reskilling, and creating awareness in people about these technologies.
And you talked about the disruption that it has brought, and that there's more disruption to come. You've also talked about the fear of AI, and one of the things you hear people say is that, oh, AI is going to take over all the jobs, and humans are going to become obsolete in terms of in the workforce. And so, well, some people should be out of the workforce already, but and so we have all of this fear. And you actually use the word disruption, and I think maybe you use the word disruption not in a bad way, but let's talk about how AI has disrupted, and also to address these fears that people have, that if you embrace it, it means you're putting humans out of work.
Yeah. So the thing is, every technological shift that has happened over the years has disrupted, not gotten rid of, not replaced, but has disrupted the era before it. So if we were to go back to when we had people farming on lands, and we had workers in the land that they had their fork, and they were plowing the land, and they were doing that, and they were doing a lot of the manual work. When the tractors came in, and the tractors were invented, a lot of those people lost their jobs, because of the disruption that came when the tractor came about. So with every technological shift, we've seen disruption in the workforce. However, what it did as well, though, is the technological shift, it created new opportunities for people to start doing work in different ways. So, for example, a lot of the workers that were working on the farm, because of the efficiencies of the tractor, we were able to develop those factories, and now they started working in factories, and we started seeing that over the years. So with AI, there has been disruption in the workplace. I'm not sure that we've seen disruption from a Grenadian context as yet. However, certainly in some of the developed countries, in North America, especially, we've seen companies have started, laying off staff, because and employing a bunch of like AI agents to do a lot of the work that some of the staff were doing. Now, some of those things have backfired, because in many cases they had to bring some of the staff back, because the mistake that they made is not realizing that the human is the creative catalyst. The human is the person. AI by itself, if you were to give an input to an AI, and you do not give a proper input, the output you will get might not even serve your purpose very well. So you need to have the human who is the creative catalyst to use the AI. So I like to say that you may not be replaced by an AI itself doing your job, but you will be replaced by somebody that is using AI. Because now, let's say somebody you had you work in an agency and you're responsible for writing press releases, and let's say you had three people, and there were three people, and they were always, you had to do a lot of press releases, so they were responsible for those press releases. With ChatGPT or Gemini, you can have just one person responsible for the press releases, and they can pump out more press release than the three people who are pumping out together combined. So there will be disruptions. Disruption is coming, which is the reason why people need to get upskilled and reskilled and understand how to use the tools to give themselves a competitive advantage. Many organizations, like I said, um, there are going to be shifts, but I do believe, I don't think that, I don't believe in the over hype of, oh, everybody will lose their job and we'll just have like robots walking around doing everything. I don't believe we're gonna get there. If we do, well, I guess time would say what Kimanya was wrong. I don't think we're there. I don't think we're there. At least not in the near future. So I do think that the human remains at the center of AI, and we need to be what I call AI assisted workers, whereby we are using artificial intelligence to be more productive, to be more efficient. And I think that the people that will get left behind are those that are ignoring or do not want to embrace AI, because other people are going to be more efficient, more productive, getting a lot more done, and they are the ones that are going to advance in the workforce.
Because for me, for instance, I know, and you did a wonderful lecture with us for Media Week last week, Wednesday morning. It was very well received by my members, by the way. Everyone says
Awesome.
they learned a lot and appreciated your time, and thanks again for that. Um, so for me, I put some video, and surprisingly, the other, I just dropped some video in, and it offered to do all kinds of things with the video for me, and actually gave me a whole tutorial on how to use Premiere Pro, which is a video
Oh,
editing software. Uh, so I shot the video, I knew the story I wanted to tell, and I had the material, but the heavy lifting of it, after the thinking of what you want to do, and the creative juices flowing of what you want to do, it was able now, well, it offered, I didn't go ahead with it anyhow, but I was just trying it out after your presentation, but it was ready to help me with the stuff that I needed,
there
and
we
would have
go.
probably done it in 2 minutes or less.
Exactly. Exactly. And you raise a good point, because it's really using AI to do some of the heavy lifting, and freeing up the human to do some of the more creative and strategic work. So you're not getting rid of the human, because you need the human to be, like I said, the creative and strategic force that's using the AI, that's guiding the AI, because garbage in, garbage out. You put you prompt it with nonsense, you will get nonsense. So yeah, the human element is critical, but the heavy lifting is what the AI helps us with.
It has to give you
Correct.
something. If you keep giving it the
Correct.
wrong prompts and over, like that lawyer who keeps coming up having presented
Yes.
fictitious case
Fake
law
and
in
fake
a court of law.
case studies in a court of law. Almost lost his license.
But you know, it is to be embraced. It is to be used responsibly, like everything else.
That is correct. That is correct. It's all about how we use it, responsible use of AI. I know, for example, in school, some students are using it to write the essays, do some of their work, and I'm totally against that. But teachers have the tools to check to see whether or not the assignments that have been handed in were done using AI. I teach a course called Digital Transformation and the Customer Experience at Durham College, and I also teach uh, tools and trends in advertising at Durham College as well. And I allow my students to use AI. I allow them to use AI, but they know that they cannot submit to me work that was 100% generated by AI with zero human input, because that's either an academic dishonesty or just an automatic zero. I don't grade AI work, and then we have the tools that you can put the work through to see whether it was fully AI generated or not. So I encourage using AI to get ideas, get feedback, look at what's happening. You can run like deep research, like I showed you the last time. So there's a lot of things that you can do. So I encourage them to use it. But when it comes to just being lazy and submitting to me, like just putting the entire assignment or project into AI and submitting that to me, um, it's either academic dishonesty or
Because then you don't do the work, and the point of
yeah,
you teaching them is totally defeated, because
it's
you might
defeated
as well have
exactly.
taught the AI, because that's who answered your question.
Exactly. So
What about teachers using AI to create the exam papers?
I'm not against that. Um, as long as they need to know what like they need to know the material. So if you don't know the material and you go to AI to create something for you, then how do you know what you are giving the students to do if it's properly constructed, if it's something that they can actually answer, like so I think that as a teacher, if you want to use AI to help you come up with some questions or so for an assignment or for a project, I'm not against that. Period. I think it's okay. However, my caution would be not just being lazy and not knowing your material, because you have to be able to teach the material, know exactly what you want to test the students on, have an idea, and if you want to help as the AI to help you shape the question properly or better, then so be it. But if you were to just sit back and say, you know what, this is my topic, so AI come up with some questions for me to give the students based on that topic. That to me is lazy, and I don't embrace or endorse that style of doing it. However, I think once you know the material, once you've taught the material, and you want to use the AI to help you structure your questions properly, I don't have any problem with that. The same way I don't have a problem with the students using AI for getting ideas, ideation, and so in the classroom, as long as you're not depending on it 100% to do the work for you, then that's where the issue comes in.
Depending on it so much that you forget to cut the end of it, where ChatGPT or the others quite politely asks you if you need more help.
Exactly. And I saw a video where this young lady was repeating a prayer. I don't know if it was a prank or was whatever, but she was repeating a prayer from ChatGPT. And at the end of the prayer, went on to say, "Do you need anything else? If you need anything else, let me know." That was so funny. So yeah, that's when you know that you're not using the AI properly.
Right, totally lazy there. Well, that's all the time we have. But and I just want to add here though that no matter how great AI is, I do not think that any AI is going to do a better interview than me or
One hundred
than a
percent.
human, because sometimes you're interviewing someone and the follow-up that's required, the reading of the emotions. I don't know, unless, for instance, there is fact-checking information out there on a particular issue. The AI may not pick up when somebody is lying to you, you know.
Exactly. And I just wanna pinpoint. I'm glad you mentioned that, because there are some roles that AI is not touching. So like you say, AI will not do a better interview than you. The same way, AI not gonna come in and replace like a plumber, a electrician. There are some jobs that AI just not touching. And apart from that, there are some concerns where AI is concerned, where AI is when we speak about AI, such as there are environmental concerns where some of the data centers that they're using, when we look at the water and electricity usage and the effect that it has on the environment. I mean, those things, there are genuine like concerns there where AI is concerned. Some people are thinking that at the end of the day, like I say, the AI is, because people depend so much on AI, it's like they're losing their capacity to think strategically, to come up with certain things. And there's also the issue of because the AI depends so much on the information that we put out. If we end up with a situation where on the internet, you start having just a bunch of AI generated outputs, then the AI will start learning from work that it itself created. So now, where is the new learning coming from? So it's almost like it's learning, it's kind of cannibalizing itself because we're not really using it the way that we need to. So we need to be careful. There's issues surrounding misinformation and disinformation. AI has made misinformation and disinformation like very easy to do now. We've seen deep fake videos where people can be saying something that they never said. Like I feel for law enforcement, and so where somebody might have a voice note, or they might have a video of somebody saying something as evidence, as proof of something that was a deep fake that never really happened. So there are some disadvantages to it that we have to pay attention to. But overall, I think that I'm a techno optimist, so I think that the good outweighs the bad in this case. But that doesn't mean that we have to ignore the bad that comes with it.
Thank you so much for joining me on The Narrative. An interesting chat as always. We look forward to having you back again. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
This is The Narrative. I'm your storyteller, Calistro Faria. That was Kimron Corey, and he is a digital communications consultant. And we were talking AI and the future readiness of countries such as Grenada that seem to be a little behind the curve as we move forward with technology such as AI and digital communication and so on. When we come back, I will have with me Celicia Jones. She is the third runner-up at Mrs. Curvey Globe, and she's also Mrs. Grenada Curvey.